Warning, there may be explicit language in today's episode. Viewer discretion is advised.
Alex, I'm gonna try to move to the right.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, this is the last Zoom show, but we're glad. Like this is a Zoom show we're actually looking forward to. We have the owner. We've been promoting it for months. Justin McGonigal, the owner of the largest Pittsburgh Steelers website, not affiliated with the team officially, on the internet. Justin, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys.
It's funny. So Justin and I live in the same town, and it's I got a funny story to say. So I actually saw him at the gym, same gym we go to. Didn't go up to him, introduce myself, didn't shake his hand and say, "Hey, how's it going?" No. First thing I said was, I just got done screaming in my car at my phone about the Pirates.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, I was like, I probably should have introduced myself. I forgot it's the first time I saw him in person. but
Well, I
here
knew
we
you
are.
were at least.
Yeah, there you go. Totally did not interrupt the conversation you were having with somebody.
My trainer. Yeah, it was like 8 a.m.
It was. But yeah, so we're gonna actually start it off. We have a few questions about the website. And if anybody that doesn't like the website can just go ahead and click off right now.
Yep. You've given us enough time for review at this point.
Yeah.
You can go now.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. But it's just like, if you don't like the website, touch grass. All right. So, Justin, obviously everybody can figure out the team that inspired the website. Duh. It's literally in the name. But other than that, when you first made the website, first of all, when did you make the website, and what inspired you to make a website and turn it into a business that you turn it in today?
Yeah, well, SteelerNation.com what started as a message board back in like 1998. So I joined it when I was like 11, 12 years old, when I first got like a desktop computer, that my parents bought. So I was part of it forever. And then, I helped develop, like, the old owner. He kind of got frustrated with the NFL. They changed like policies, can't hit anybody, and things of that nature. So I helped develop the news website and all the social media and stuff starting back in like 2016, and then it's kind of just exploded into what it has now, getting millions of views per month and things of that nature. And it's really just been a whirlwind. Everything's happened pretty quickly. Went from getting 2 million views a year to 2 million a month.
Yeah.
Just insane. Yeah, I remember I saw the first, I think it was, I'm trying to remember what article was the first article I saw. Oh, it was, I can't remember what it was like specifically about, probably like a game or like situation happening in the locker room or whatever. But I think the first article I saw was something about Antonio Brown.
Yeah, Antonio Brown was very, very good to us. We got a lot of traffic, about AB. It seems though lately people have finally started to tune him out. But yeah, he was always doing something. It was good content for us for a while.
He does have a bit of a cult Twitter following nowadays, which is a little creepy, but
yeah. We actually have something coming up with AB, so that'll be coming out here. Hopefully this week we'll be announcing, but I have a signed Antonio Brown contract in my email.
Oh my God.
There we go. Just breaking news on Tailgate Talks. But yeah, Alex, I believe you have the next question.
Yeah, so you were kind of talking about like that whole like initial phase with the website and everything. It was just kind of a chat board, and it wasn't getting a lot of engagement and stuff like that. And then obviously over time, you guys have pretty quickly risen up through the ranks of sports media in the Pittsburgh area. Obviously at the top now. So what were some of like the biggest challenges that you guys faced in just that time of like really ramping it up?
Well, when we first started getting a lot of traffic was right around Ben's final playoff game, his final game against Kansas City. I think like the week leading up to that, the website kept crashing. And we're messaging the server host, like, what's going on? And, his response was that we were getting cyber attacked.
Oh, wow.
So he's like, yeah, we need to ramp up the security and all this stuff. And we're like, okay, that's fine. So he, did all these different things to help protect the website. And then it just kept continuing to come. And here it was just, we were getting a lot of traffic. We weren't getting attacked at all. Like our stories were finally hitting, top pages on Google for different keywords and stuff like that. So, definitely dealing with the site being down. We went through like a year. The first year we spent so much time.
Oh God.
With the website would be down, like it'd be a Friday night or something late, and then site would be down, like lots of emails. And every time our server host would bump the server up to like handle more traffic, we'd get more traffic. And it was like a year-long process before we finally ended up switching to Boom Press. They're our host now, and their servers are much better. They scale for traffic, so they're able to throughout the day add more servers if need be, take less away if it's slow, whatever. So thankfully we've had maybe 2 or 3 periods of downtime since we've been with them, and it's only for a brief period. And most of it wasn't even like, it was a Google issue that caused us to be down the one time. So it's been good. So that I think that was the biggest challenge that we had, was keeping up with the traffic that we were getting.
Sure.
The other one, just anything with social media, trying to grow those channels, it's tough. I think we got in at a good time. It was kind of like really, really exploding for sports news and stuff like that back in like 16, 17, 18.
Yeah.
It was before we had all these, accounts that just post bullshit. Like they just post whatever. It doesn't matter if they think it's true or know it's true, whatever. They just post things for engagement. It was kind of, I feel like before there was engagement farming, especially now that Twitter does pay some, but that's not like, no one makes a lot of money on Twitter unless maybe you're Mr. Beast or somebody. Like we get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 million engagement in a month, and we make like $15. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think those two were definitely hard. It's finding more staff and stuff like that to do things, finding more time for the editors to be able to edit, stories. Like we're up to like, between like 15 and 20 stories maybe a day. When I first started the website itself, I was the only writer, and I was writing like 8 to 10 stories maybe a day myself. Wow. And we had no editor. So, and I'm definitely not an English major. So I can write, but my grammar and stuff's probably not the best. So it was definitely like upping our staff, definitely from that standpoint.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. But next, I mean, so obviously being in media, I mean, like all three of us can be on the same page. Like we want to see it, like more people get involved and grow media, and same goes with websites as well. So kind of a two-parter, but it obviously goes together. But what would you like to see the media landscape go in the next 5 to 10 years? And then I'll also add to that, where do you want to see Steeler Nation go in the next 5 to 10 years?
Media is definitely evolving. I feel like you're seeing more and more companies that are like Steeler Nation, maybe fan-driven websites that are gaining access to, locker rooms, or even the sideline for photography or things of that nature. The Steelers, they're a tough bunch to deal with. Sometimes they aren't as open to, I would say, the evolution of how media is and journalism and stuff like that. Like, there's so many people now that don't go to school and graduate with a journalism major or any of that are, doing great things. It's definitely, in Pittsburgh, DK Pittsburgh Sports, he kind of set the landscape for everything. He started his website, broke off from the normal newspaper journalism. So he set that, and then The Athletic came right after that. And there's been some other websites that have, hired fans and stuff like that to write for their legit media outlet. And it's still a challenge to get credentials and stuff. But, if everybody in this room could get credentialed for the Super Bowl. So why is it easier for that than the Steelers? I don't know. But, so I'm hoping that we definitely see, more engagement, more involvement from the teams in like official places. Because a lot of them hate websites like us, Steeler Nation, because they say that you're just, stealing quotes or whatever. Well, if we could actually be in the room to get our own quotes, we wouldn't have to write stories based off of, quotes we get off podcasts and things of that nature too. As an overall for us personally, it ties into that. Hopefully we can get better credentials moving forward. We come out with our app last year, so we're hoping to continue to develop that. We have about 20,000 users on our app. So we're hoping that we get to the point where everybody has their notifications on for stories, so that when we, send out a breaking news story, you get it immediately to your phone.
Yeah.
We're faster than ESPN. We're faster than most places. You're going to get it right then. So we want to make sure we have that, and then hopefully more engagement just with the users, whether that's in comments or on social media or, however it is. We're trying to help our writers grow their own following so that they can, interact with everybody more so than just being like a brand.
Yeah, absolutely. So, last one that we have here, kind of narrowing it down a little bit. We were just talking about the macro with the website and the landscape of media in general. We'll move down to the micro a little bit. Two-parter as well. First of all, what's like your short-term vision for the website? The more recent things that you're hoping and looking forward to, and a couple things I think I could pull out already. But what advice would you give to someone who's trying to start a business?
For anybody trying to get into this, you have to try and keep trying and keep trying and be consistent. Like there really isn't a fast track to any of this, I don't feel like. And, especially if this wasn't something that I ever thought would blow up into what it is, I guess. But, you have to have you have to have a big base of something. Like we started with a big base of social media following. So that kind of helped us when we put our, our stories in front of the audience. It was gaining traction on social media because all the people were clicking from social media. We had 100,000 followers right off the bat. So that helped us. And so, you almost need to have something like that developed before you could even probably start a website, because you won't have you won't have an audience to share it. Like no one's going to see it. So you have to build your own kind of brand or your own personal brand. But it's just consistency. You have to be consistent. You have to, if people expect it to be there, yeah, it better be there. So, that's how you lose people. They think, oh, they like this, podcast or this, post-game report or whatever it is, and they go to find it and it's not there, then you lose that customer or that user probably for a long time.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's funny. I was actually texting because I realized for number 3 that on the two-parter, I took the first part of the number 4, so that's why that sounded repetitive. I texted Alex. I was like, crap, I already screwed up. But it's funny. But yeah. So hoping for a long success with Steeler Nation. Obviously, I see a lot of the articles, and it's crazy. It's crazy to see what it's become, and obviously from being from the same town as you, it's like also like insane that somebody in my town is doing this. So I applaud you for that.
Editor in chief for the Troy Times.
There you go. There you go. But
I don't even know, is that still a thing at Greenville? Is there still journalism, newspaper? I don't even know.
I'm not sure. I haven't been there in like 3 years. It was when I was there, but yeah. But of course, we have the Record Argus in in Greenville. So
you can find our stories in the Record Argus.
There you go.
Heck yeah.
I remember my mom used to be a writer for Record Argus and get some pictures and stuff for Greenville sports. But yeah. So speaking of the Steelers, I'm gonna preface this right away. So everybody watching this show wants you to look, because there's gonna be 3 squares. Look at mine and look at my eyes. It's preseason. Relax.
No one will ever understand that.
Now I'm gonna be fair here, and obviously that say what I saw from the game against the Bills for a football game, but I am not freaking out because it's preseason. But
you have to look at last season and temper expectations. I mean, I thought we were going to the Super Bowl after our 8 for 8 with Kenny Pickett throwing dimes, long touchdown passes, all that. This year, I mean, there's definitely concerning issues.
Oh,
and,
for sure.
Obviously, you don't want to see Broderick Jones look like dog and get bull rushed all over the field. Don't want that to happen. The quarterback situation, when you don't have it, like the things we saw with Fields are things that he struggled with so far in his career, so that's not great. I feel like they're probably going to have a much more concerned effort to run the ball. I think you're seeing they were trying to pass the ball probably more than they would in the regular season. So definitely some concerns.
I definitely cringed a little bit at that one deep shot that he missed.
Yeah, and I think that was probably the receiver's fault more than anything. That hitch step, and then he kind of like broke his route a little bit. But and maybe if it's Pickens, he might have been tall enough to catch it.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say about that is at any level of even collegiate football, let alone NFL football, if you've got one-on-one with no safety help and you have a post, that it is expected to be hit more often than not. There might have been a little bit on the receiver, but I just will say that because I know for us that is a very high expectation. If you got that shot, you're ripping it.
Yeah. First of all, I do want to say Acrisure Stadium, good job booing Mitch Trubisky. No, I'm kidding.
Did you see he hurt his knee? He is out for multiple weeks.
Is he really?
That sucks. That in all seriousness, so that sucks to hear. Hopefully, Mitch gets well soon.
Pittsburgh legends Ben DiNucci and Mitch Trubisky playing quarterback for the Bills.
It's funny you say that, Alex, because see, I'm obviously, everybody knows I'm a Pitt fan. So the game Ben DiNucci finally got in when he was at Pitt. Would you guys like to know who the and I could be totally wrong, and I might have to edit this out so I don't look like an idiot, but it was against Oklahoma State. It was 2017. Yep. Mason Rudolph was the starting quarterback for that game, and Pitt was down like 49-17 going into halftime. But no. So, Justin, you mentioned him already. I don't know how much you pay attention to DK's podcasts, if you listen to them at all. He said something today that I thought was very interesting, and I kind of agree, but I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. He said they really need to commit and put Broderick Jones at left tackle, and when Troy Fontanu gets healthy, put him at right tackle. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, the problem is Dan Moore can't play right tackle.
Yeah.
So, you're either going to bite the bullet and you're going to put Spencer Anderson there until Troy comes back, or you're going to have to keep doing what you're doing. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think you're stunting Broderick Jones's ability by putting him at right tackle. Remember, he played 11 games at right tackle last year, so He's very capable. I'm not sure what they say. He's maybe dealing with some kind of minor injury. Mark Capoli said last night that he was wearing that elbow guard. I don't think he wore it the other night in the game, but it was either I don't know what happened. Maybe he was just uninterested because it was preseason. I'm not sure what happened to him in that game. Maybe he didn't get a lot of sleep. I don't know. But the injury to Fontanu is very critical right now because you want to. They were committed to doing that the week he got hurt. Pretty much, they pretty much had moved him into the starting right tackle spot, and Jones and Dan Moore were taking first team reps over there.
Yeah, I think it's overall the better thing to do. I get that they didn't want to throw Broad out there his first year at left tackle because it can be a problem if you do poorly, obviously confidence and development and all that stuff. But I think it's the right thing to do once he gets back, and I'm glad that like you said, it seems pretty minor, right, for Troy on his injury. It's not like anything too bad.
Yeah, an MCL sprain.
Okay, so it's a sprain, so it's not the worst thing on the planet. I do think it will be better though, and because this is something I always thought about as well, was a lot of people figured it would be better for Troy to be at left because he played left in college at Washington, but he was playing left for a lefty. So he wasn't the backside guy. He wasn't the blind side. So keeping him at left whenever you got a righty quarterback, it is different. Playing the blind side tackle compared to the front side tackle is a very different game.
Right. I mean, the same can be said for Jones. He was always a left tackle too. So
yeah.
They're just in a bad situation. They tried to play Dan Moore at right tackle in OTAs and stuff, and he can't do it.
Yeah,
So they just have to deal with it for right now because you'd rather have, in my opinion, you have a better offensive line at Dan Moore as left tackle and Jones is at right tackle. If that's going to be it. I'm not going to say they won't do it, but I'll be very surprised if week 1 comes and they put Fontanu back in it instantly. He hasn't played or practiced in 3 weeks because of his injury, even if he can play by week 1, but that's to be seen, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. So my take on it is I can understand wanting to put Jones left tackle and then Fontana right tackle, where DK is coming from. But at the same time, Jones had a really good rookie year last year, in my opinion, when he was in there. And there was times on the show, Alex can agree, that we praised Broderick Jones for his performances week to week. So I don't know. We will see. But yeah,
I think he had his best game though at left tackle against the Ravens. I think started that one. He started the one game. I think that was his first career start. It was at left tackle because Moore was out, and I think that was his most consistent, the best game he had.
Was that the game at home when Kenny had the game winner to George, or is that the?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, because he played all year, and the Ravens game was the last game of the year. Duh. Okay. But real quick, I feel like I do got to ask real quick: is Brandon Ayuk going to be a Steeler?
Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, I heard earlier today that Danny Smith, the special teams coach, his son, claims that on Monday or Tuesday of next week that Brandon Ayuk will be a Steeler. So
wow.
Take it for what it is, but I've heard from people with the last name Rooney. I've heard from players. I've heard from insiders. It's all over the place. Everybody said something. I do think the longer this goes on, the better the chances are at this point. I on Friday or Thursday of last week, whenever they said they upped the offer to $30 million a year or whatever, and he was at practice wearing a 49er shirt.
Yeah, he was.
I felt like the things were probably dying at that point, but then what's the hold up now? I mean, we're at Monday night, still hasn't signed. So, I mean, if you get into next week, I think the chances are better. I mean, obviously the Mike Tomlin factor is why he wants to come to Pittsburgh. Maybe he's just not, he's over the 49ers. I don't know. it's the leaks. I feel like the leaks are coming from San Francisco mostly. I think the Steelers leaked out a couple of things last week, about they were hanging tight and they weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Maybe they need to up the offer to 2 second-round picks or, something. I don't know. 1 first-round pick. I don't know what the answer. I'm not sure I'd be comfortable with the first-round pick, but after they obviously need a number 2 receiver, and they're not going to get CD Lamb or, DK Metcalf. I thought maybe if some weird thing happened where they traded Ayuk to the Commanders, that maybe the Terry McLaurin would be a possibility because apparently he says he likes Tomlin too. So, but your guess is as good as mine. Not everybody, it's a very fluid situation. Even like last week when I get a message in the morning, screenshot of, and then a Steelers insider saying that there's going to be something happen today. So then we all sat there for like 2 hours, and then that's when the insiders started with their talks about whatever it was at that day. Nothing ended up happening, obviously, but something was going on. Somebody told somebody something that needed a leak that morning, and then 2 hours later, you hear from Schefter and all those guys.
Yeah, it just seems like this is all over the place and stuff changes like every day
It pretty much does
by the sounds of it. But yeah, we will see. But yeah, last thing I'll say about the preseason, again, it's early. Russ didn't do anything, but again, you got to remember Russell Wilson is coming off of a calf injury and he probably was a little rusty. And again, it's preseason, so at the end of the day, doesn't matter. What matters is what Russ will do week 1 against the Falcons, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I'm confident. Like I said, it's basically warm-up reps in my opinion for preseason. So obviously, you still want to do well and perform well in preseason. But yeah, so I'm really not concerned at all about the Steelers. I mean, there's some spots where, sorry, there was like some spots where I was like, okay, maybe, but it could get fixed. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. Whenever Russ was out there for his 5th and maybe the 4th drive, that was against backups, and they still couldn't score. And then Fields was playing against people that weren't ever going to be in the NFL anymore. I know that he had players around him that are not going to be in the NFL anymore. But if you're that guy, I feel like you could at least get a touchdown.
Yeah, I would agree. I am no less concerned about the quarterback situation than last year at this exact moment, quite frankly. I am confident in our ability to win 9 games. I know that much. I feel pretty good. I think our season win total was set at like over under 7.5 as well. I would hammer that bet.
Something like that, yeah. But yeah, I mean, at least I'm not concerned. Obviously, I'm gonna hope for the best because I'm a positive person. Let's go Steelers. But yeah, so I actually have, and we have another Steelers thing a little bit later. We'll do overreactions, but real quick, I want to get this out of the way as just to save some time. This is non-Steeler related, and I figured we talked about this guy a lot. We had to at least talk about it tonight. Unfortunately, JJ McCarthy for the Vikings is out for the rest for his entire rookie year, which just is such a bummer, man. Such a bummer. They signed Matt Corral for quarterback depth, but obviously Sam Darnold is going to be the quarterback all year unless it's really, 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 really bad. But yeah, it sucks, man. I know Jordan Addison did get hurt. I don't know unless you guys saw something else. From what I saw, he's going to be fine. Not season ending by any means, at least what I saw. But yeah, real quick, what do you guys think about this? This just sucks for JJ.
Yeah, definitely horrible for Vikings fans. I think JJ will still get his. He's proved to be able to do that even with Dobbs and those guys last year. I don't know that Sam Darnold is going to be good at all. So we'll see. He's probably bad for them again.
Yeah, I mean, back-to-back years now, we have seen some of the most historically pained franchises in the NFL lose their quarterbacks in either week 1 or in the preseason. last year, Jets fans just got another haymaker like they have for, unfortunately, a lot of their existences and organization. And now
They deserve it, though.
yeah,
They-
and now the
Yeah.
Their
Vikings,
fans deserve
who,
it.
by the way,
Writing that down so I can make a reel. So then some Jets fan just gets mad like, you don't know football. Oh.
you know what the worst part about it for Vikings fans is, though? They haven't spent a first-round draft pick on a quarterback since Christian Ponder. Like, that's how long it's been since they've, like,
How long?
been bad enough and in an especially deep quarterback draft class be able to draft a guy that they think is the future. And I mean, Christian Ponder obviously didn't really work out. Think back to their last successful first-round quarterback was probably Randall Cunningham. So just another year of pain for Minnesota Viking fans, unfortunately.
Yeah, then you think about it too. They just gave Jefferson the big contract and everything.
Yeah, 35 mil.
Seemed like they were prepared, and then boom, JJ gets hit with a season-ending injury. It's just
extended Justin Jefferson, drafted McCarthy,
yeah.
signed Aaron Jones, didn't trade for him, signed for him, yeah. Signed him out of free agency. Like, the O-line's pretty good. I don't know. It sucks for them.
Yeah,
Very
it
much
sucks.
so.
Yeah, it sucks. But all right. Also, quick mention right away for Pitt fans that watch this. Keep your eye on Eli Holstein. It's a lot. So Justin, I told you how much of a Pitt fan I am. I am not a fan of Pat Narduzzi anymore. I really want him gone. But he's going to be stubborn. I do believe Nate Yarnell is going to be QB1 for the start of the year, but I would really keep your eye on Eli Holstein. The competition there is a lot closer than people think. I'm just going to say that real quick. But yeah, so we have a new segment, and Justin, please do not leave the call because of the topic. It's just a statement, but it is called a what if statement. I don't know if you guys seen like videos of like what people make about what if in Marvel movies or what if Star Wars, stuff like that. So this is what if sports. So it's gonna be what if scenario, and I got one for this week, and it's pretty fitting because it involves Ben Roethlisberger. So the what if is in 2004. What if the Cleveland Browns selected Ben Roethlisberger? But yeah, the Browns went 4-12 that year. And the Steelers, obviously, everybody knows the history of Ben Roethlisberger and what happened and everything. As I try to find the record, Justin, do you remember? Oh, no, it's right here, 15-1. So
didn't Ben go like 13-0 in the games he started or something like that year?
Something like that. Yeah. But of course, I was 1 year old when Roethlisberger made his debut in the NFL. So I don't know, but Justin, obviously you would probably know more about what happened that year. So what do you think? How do you think the Browns would? Do you think anything would have changed if they took Ben, or do you think Ben possibly might not have been the Hall of Fame quarterback he is?
He would have been good. The Browns are very ignorant for not taking him, especially considering he played in their backyard at Miami, Ohio, from Findlay, Ohio. History would have definitely been changed for Steeler fans, probably the Browns fans too. I mean, he wouldn't have walked into the same situation that he had in Pittsburgh with the defense that they had and they were developing. So that would have been different, but the Steelers would have been, I don't know what they would have done at quarterback. It would have been another year of Tommy Maddox, and
it would have been,
maybe, if he gets hurt, same scenario. Charlie Batch was already out. So I think, trying to think, maybe Brian St. Pierre or somebody was like the third string quarterback that year. So they definitely wouldn't have finished the season 15-1, went to the championship game, and they definitely wouldn't have won the Super Bowl the next year. We still might be looking for one for the thumb. In Cleveland, who knows? They might have been able to put something together. Ben was crazy talent, so the Browns wouldn't have had to have that great of an offensive line. They did have some receiver weapons there. In 2007, Who they did well. I'm trying to think what their quarterback, what his name was. I can see him.
Jeff Garcia.
No, in 07. Goodness.
It was
he went to the Pro Bowl.
It was Jeff Garcia that year, wasn't it?
Maybe
30,
it was.
yeah, it
That's
was.
not
It
who
was.
I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about I can't think what his name is. Anderson. Wasn't it?
I can't remember now either.
I'm just have to look it up. Maybe it was 09 that he went to the Pro Bowl. I don't know. Derek Anderson is who I'm talking about.
Oh, Derek Anderson, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even look it up, but I finally figured it out. See what year he was there.
Real quick while they look that up, we will be back in the studio next week. Thank God.
Yeah.
Let's put that out there. Oh, did you find it, Justin?
2007, he went to the Pro Bowl.
Okay.
For the Browns. He started 15 games.
But yeah, I mean, my assessment, the best I can, I would have to be right up there with you, Justin, on that. Ben would have been good. Obviously different situations, but again, it's why it's called what ifs, because nobody knows if what would have happened. But that's just my assessment on it.
I struggle with this one because part of me just wants to say that it would have never been the same as it would have been in Pittsburgh, because he would have just been another one of the dozens of quarterbacks in the graveyard from the dysfunctional disaster that was the mid-2000s Cleveland Browns. So I do believe that Ben was obviously way better than probably every single one of those quarterbacks that the Browns drafted post, coming back to Cleveland.
But you have to remember, though, in 04, they'd only been a team for 5 years. They didn't have that stellar history of the draft yet. So there wasn't that wasn't surrounding them at that point. It was, later towards the next couple of years after that, where they started with the Brady Quinns and the people like that. Yeah,
so it's a tough one. I think Ben was much more of a force multiplier, to use an Eric Mangini phrase, than any of those guys that were drafted in that time, any of the Brady Quinns or anything like that. Obviously, the Deshaun Kaisers and all of the throughout the years after Ben was in the NFL and everything. But I think he probably would have made them at least like a middle of the pack team, rather than like just a young team who had nothing going for them most of the time. So
it just makes you wonder what the Steelers would have done for the next 18 years at quarterback. Yeah. We were already in purgatory from the 80s when Bradshaw was gone, to Cordell, to Maddox. So who would they have drafted? I have no clue. Maybe the next year they get Aaron Rodgers.
Maybe.
Possibly. That would have been interesting. That would have been very interesting.
He was 05 draft, right?
I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
I think so. Yeah, because Alex Smith was one. They would have had a shot at Rodgers. Because they definitely wouldn't have went to the championship.
Yeah, he went all the way to 24, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, real quick, speaking of Ben, I have a funny story that Alex already knows, but I'll tell it to you, Justin. So my dad's buddy, I always have to say this, the quarterbacks coach of the 2022 Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts, Mike Miller. He was an OC for Arizona, but he's also worked with the Bills and the Steelers, and he was on the Cardinals during that Super Bowl against the Steelers. And a lot of Steelers were coming over and hugging him and everything. And he remembers just seeing Ben on the sideline warming up, looking over at him like, who the hell is this dude? Why is everybody going over to him? But interesting fact. But yeah, so I think we can just all agree that even though the Browns did not take Ben and the Steelers did, that Ben still owns the Cleveland Browns. Just put that out there. But
thank God that they didn't take him. That's all we can be happy about.
Absolutely. But my childhood quarterback, pretty much Alex too. But but yeah. So all right, we got 3 more things, and we unfortunately have to end with the Pirates, whatever. But I have the 4 rookie quarterbacks that will be playing in the regular season for their teams, and simple. Great grades A, B, C, D. Get your guys' opinion, and we'll go from there. All right, to start it off, Caleb Williams.
See, they're all rookies, so I have a hard time giving like any A range for a rookie because we haven't really seen anything from him yet. But I have never once bought all of the social media trolls who think that Caleb Williams is going to be a terrible quarterback because he like paints his nails and like I don't know does things outside of football. Like, okay, but quite honestly, it's got to be an A pick for the Bears just because of the fact that they managed to trade down the draft before, still end up with the number 1 overall pick and a top 10 pick of their own. You didn't really get anything for Justin Fields, obviously, but yeah, I would say it's an A pick just because ginormous upside, seems to be a pretty passionate about football kid. Seems like he's starting to become a little bit more of a leader as well, and he has a monster arm and he can make blow your socks off plays. So, A.
So are we grading what we think his season's going to be or just the pick in general?
Oh no, I was saying I was going off of the preseason performances so far from everybody.
I mean, he had a pretty good game the other day, so I'll go A.
Yeah, he did.
All right, next for the Washington Commanders, Jaden Daniels.
Justin, I'll let you take this one first if you want to.
Yeah, I really didn't see a lot of his plays. I've seen a couple highlights on Twitter. When I was at the game on Saturday, I think like 17 games or something crazy were playing, so I didn't see much of him. I mean, he's the starter, so he must have shown something half decent. So we'll go B.
I think I'll probably stick to about a B as well. I mean, we kind of saw at LSU, the guy is capable of making like NFL level progressions. He's capable of reading the field, so that's fine. All the accuracy stuff, all the platform stuff, that can all be fixed. I am worried about the frame. I hope that he puts on some weight because those edge rushers in the NFL aren't very nice to you when they get their hands on you. So I do worry a little bit just about the weight. The height's great, just the weight. But he's definitely a little bit of a riskier prospect than some other quarterbacks. I'll stick with a B as well.
All right, next for the New England Patriots, Drake May.
Is he even starting?
I don't.
They haven't announced it yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of starting to get the feeling that he's not going to be. I'm not going to lie.
I'll give him a B. I've seen a few plays he made. I don't think that New England has overall. He has no weapons to throw to.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, him himself, like, I'll also give a B because, like, for as much as I gave Jaden Daniels a B, I actually like Drake May a little bit more. I thought he would definitely be the second pick just because he seems a little more pro-ready in terms of, like, the style of offense he ran and stuff like that. But, yeah, I'll give him a B. That's independent of his kind of rough offensive line and zero weapons.
Which, speaking of the Patriots, I know some people mentioned it, and I don't know about it. But, Justin, what are your thoughts on possibly Steelers and Juju Smith-Schuster reunion?
I
just don't see where that helps you any. He's not a number 2. You're getting another mid-range guy.
I mean, yeah, sometimes you just got to read the writing on the wall. He couldn't make the roster on the worst receiving room in the entire league.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers had the chance, 3 years ago before he went to Kansas City to sign him for peanuts, and they chose not to. So, I mean, I think that tells you how they felt about him then, and he's even more injured, more old, more slow than he was back then. You're not getting anything that you're not getting with Van Jefferson. And
exactly.
If people didn't like Juju, you wouldn't even. They would be the same as James Washington getting cut from Atlanta. the other day.
Yeah.
All right, the last rookie on this list for the Denver Broncos, and Alex knows our opinion on the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix.
I mean, if you look at the numbers, just going off that, I guess you got to give him an A. It looked like he's had a pretty solid. He started this second game here. It looked like he had 100 and some yards and a couple of tutties.
Yeah, I would be. I'm gonna be willing to give him an A- just because I'm always hesitant with rookies in the first place, and second of all, just like we've seen, obviously Herbert come out of Oregon and succeed, and we'll see with Bo Nix, but it can be a bit of a non-NFL system in a lot of ways. There are some things that just like I feel like maybe won't translate, but he's also very experienced and he's gotten a lot of snaps under his belt. So I'll give him an A-.
Fair, but all right. Next, Alex, my favorite segment we do, Overreactions.
These are fun.
all Steeler based. Though I was thinking about this the other day, it's not really like overreactions. It's literally just statements and say agree, yes or no. I guess you could say it's like overreaction statements if you disagree, but I don't know. But that's not the point. But I have 5 of them for this week, and we'll go from there. All right, number 1. Zach Azzani, who is everybody knows, wide receiver coach, right? For the Steelers. Everybody knows the attitude problems a lot of the wide receivers have brought over the last 2 years. But the statement is the wide receiver room will be under control now that Zach Azzani is the wide receivers coach.
I agree. He's a no bullshit guy. I mean, he's already the first day of practice screaming at Pickens' face.
Yeah, I think that's good for George.
Before.
No, never. It went completely unchecked. I think this is good for George, even if he's getting up in his face in practice, so that's just coaching, and that's something you got to get used to. But I mean, just like all at training camp, he seemed a little bit mature, a little bit more level, just kind of more collected. So I think if George is in that mindset and he's smooth operator, I think the rest of the receiving room will mostly conform regardless of what Zach Azzani's doing. But I think with the way he's handling it, that it's going to be fine either way.
Something that's not talked about a lot is Russell Wilson being around. Since Pickens been here, he hasn't had a veteran quarterback to really lead him. Mitch Trubisky, cool dude, nice dude. I don't know how vocal he is, or if anybody does George Pickens even respect him enough to give him that time of day? Probably not. So, and then you went to Kenny again. Pickens would probably be different if Roethlisberger is his quarterback. So maybe that's something that Wilson brings to the table that's underrated. Helping him mature. Like Wilson's dealt with DK Metcalf, who kind of reminds me of the same type of vibe as Pickens.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert: there's something about DK Metcalf in this. But all right, next. Finally, this year, the Steelers will win a playoff game.
Go ahead, Alex.
I have a hard time with this one because I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking, okay, I don't know that I could confidently say we would win the division this year, which means that we would get no higher than a 5 seed if we were to not win the division, because we have that. It's just so brutal. Now, the AFC North could just be a complete bloodbath this year because we all play each other so close together. So it could be just kind of like mutually assured destruction where everyone just kind of jacks each other's seeding up. But I'd say, I mean, if we finish second in the North, I can't imagine there would be a team that could get higher than us in the non-automatic home playoff game slots. So I would imagine if we came in second, we would be a pretty big shoe-in for the 5 seed. Which would put us against the 4 on the road.
Yeah.
So realistically, looking at the AFC, that would mean the AFC North winner would be either Baltimore or Cincinnati. I don't know how Cincinnati is going to be this year. Probably Bills, Chiefs. So your best case scenario as the 5 is like getting a road playoff game in Houston or Jacksonville, depending on who wins that division. That's tough. Or maybe another trip back to Buffalo, I don't know. I would love to see us win a playoff game this year, but it might be tough.
Yeah, I mean, if you would ask me this 2 weeks ago, I've been said, yeah. I don't know. I just can't fathom they don't win a playoff game and we see Tomlin get fired or something like that. If they miss the playoffs, I don't know. He probably wouldn't be fired. We'd still have to deal with that. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be. They have a lot of things going against them. The end of the season stretch is going to be rough. They need to come out and be on fire at the beginning of the season and win these games, and they're not. Yeah, they're not gelling right now.
You're talking needing to start like 7-2 through your first 9, and then you get to the bye at I think, or not the bye, but after week 11 is that brutal stretch of division games in Kansas City and all that stuff. So you need to start 8-3 ish. You gotta really start hot.
Maybe they sneak in as a 7 seed and they go to Baltimore. Baltimore's the 3 seed, or I guess they'd be the 2 seed. Yeah, 2 versus 7. And maybe Baltimore's the 2 seed and they play Baltimore, and obviously we know how those games go.
I was going to say that's honestly the team I would feel most comfortable walking into their stadium.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was just about to say that. I was like, if there is a scenario where the Steelers do win a playoff game, it has to be a scenario where we walk into Baltimore. So there's that. I did have to cut one from this list just to save time. But all right, next. Arthur Smith will be better than Matt Canada. Duh. All right, next.
Yeah.
That's really, really, the bar is, come on. Duh. All right. But for real, though, next. Justin Fields should be QB1 to start the year.
I disagree.
No. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. I think I told Alex this. Alex, if I didn't, then I probably told somebody else. Even competition or not, doesn't matter. I think Russell Wilson should be QB1 with his leadership and the experience he has. He should be QB1 week 1 against the Falcons. So
yeah, and quite frankly, the reason Justin Fields was traded for such a low value and the reason that he was willing to go to Pittsburgh is because he obviously wanted a chance to compete, not a great one, but he wanted a chance to compete for a starting job. But the Bears wanted to do him right by sending him somewhere that he could learn, because he, in his current state, is not capable of being a quality NFL starter for the long term, at least. So
you look at the turnovers for Fields. I think that the beginning of the season, they need to not turn the ball over.
Exactly. And just keep there's certain things that just aren't necessarily coachable in all ways, but any way possible, he just needs to find a way to just read the field better. And it's a very way easier said than done situation, but if he can get through that and he can slow down his progressions a little bit and just kind of see the field moving slower, he might be all right. But it's not the most coachable thing on the planet to do. So
yeah, like I said, Rush should be QB1. But yeah, all right. Last one. Justin kind of already alluded to it earlier, but we'll just think of scenarios where it would work out. The Steelers should, if they do not get Brandon Ayuk, go get DK Metcalf?
I mean, I'd be fine with it. I just don't think it's possible.
Yeah,
I don't think he's on the trade block. I don't know where. I can actually tell you sources I know that know DK Metcalf's agent, and he has said that's not even a thing. So, but the connection obviously is there. Russ and DK, and they worked out together and all that.
Yeah, I don't see a world where it would make sense for Seattle at all.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It was what you alluded to earlier, Justin. They do need to get another wide receiver. It's just if you don't get Ayuk, then who? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's not a lot of receivers available on the market, or they probably would have traded the Steelers Ayuk to begin with and went and got another receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do we really have to move on to the Pirates?
They're only down by 1 last time I got.
Oh wow! Last time I checked, they were down 4-0 at the start of the game.
Yeah, it's 4-3 last time I seen.
Wow. But I'm gonna make this quick. I really don't want to spend time on the Pirates. They just don't deserve it either. But it's funny because like there was the 10-game losing streak. I ranted about it last week. We said the season was over. I even asked Justin for the survey. Season's over. I didn't even know we took 2 of 3 from the Mariners. I think that's because that's how checked out I am of the season. I just didn't know. I really just did not know. And quite frankly, I don't care.
Yeah, they got us through training camp or to training camp. I guess that's the normal for Pirate fans. You hate to see it. I think losing to Gonzalez, I think, was probably the dagger for them because he was the guy that when he came up, he was the one getting the timely hits with the 2 outs they needed. And then obviously losing Jared Jones. And now they've lost Kutch. And yeah, he was trying to will them to victory during that 10-game losing streak. The guy had multiple home runs in multiple games with a bad leg, couldn't even run. So you feel for him. Obviously, I think he'll be probably back again next year. I think he's still able to play. But whenever Gonzalez went down, I think that was a blow.
Yeah. And everybody knows just the crap Ben Cherington can produce. And I know he made moves for the deadline, though Brian De La Cruz has not been good at all since he became a Pirate. Now, Isaiah Connor-Falefa, on the other hand, pretty solid.
Yeah, not a bad addition there, but yeah, Brian De La Cruz can't hit anything.
He is unfortunately 0 for 4 right now.
Who, De La Cruz?
No, Falefa.
Connor-Falefa, oh, yeah.
Yeah, he had popped out his first 2 at bats.
Mm-hmm.
I'd seen that earlier.
But yeah, I don't know. I just really don't care. I really don't. It's just so see. I was at the game where the Pirates beat the Mets 15-2, and they ran out of fireworks and they hit 7 home runs. The electricity from that crowd made you think, is this October? Is it really? That's what the feeling I had in the stadium when I was there. It was so awesome. It's probably the reason why I say the second best game is because I was at Kutch's return, and you can't beat that. And Brian Reynolds, if you remember from that time period before he got paid, was just, he couldn't stop hitting.
Yeah, then he got paid and he couldn't hit anything.
Yeah, right after that. So I will say this year,
yeah,
he's starting to hit
after the first month or so.
Right. There's always there's always a decline with him. Sometimes he can be inconsistent, but once he starts to hit, he can hit. And Alex, didn't I say in the tier list podcast with Bailey that this is going to be another all-star season for Brian Reynolds?
You did say that.
I did call that. But yeah. So last question we will ask you, Justin. Unfortunately, it is about the Pirates. Would you shut down Paul Skeens?
No.
I agree. The reason why I asked that is because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, they should shut down Paul Scanlon. They should cut." He's a rookie.
Yeah, for what purpose?
Exactly.
I don't believe they're going to, anyways. But maybe towards the end of September, cut down some of his innings or skip a start or something. But no point to shut him down.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had some hiccups lately too. I mean, he's still been dominant, but the home run balls have been coming.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember I saw that and I was like, I mean, I'll bring it up on the show, but like, why would you? Like, this, I don't know. And my final thought on the Pirates is, again, the season's over, but you really have to go on a really big winning streak to get back to where you were. It's not going to happen.
Exactly.
But if you actually care, which you don't, but let's just say for this statement, if you actually care, you have to start right now. You cannot wait anymore. You have to do it right now. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so Justin, thanks for coming on the show. This was a blast. Is there anything would you like to promote while we have you on for the last minute?
No, just make sure everybody out there, you're getting your news from SteelerNation.com. If you come down to the games, come to the Terrible Tailgate, Red Lot 5A, all you can drink, all you can eat. We got some exciting guests lined up. I know Chad Brown will be there for the opener. Santonio Holmes will be there for the Cowboys. And then we have a couple other good names coming. And we'll be in Atlanta. We're throwing a tailgate there, and we'll be in Vegas again this year, throwing another banger out there. So,
yeah, and I will say I am going to be at the home opener as well against the Chargers, so I can't wait. But yeah, so no more Zoom shows, Alex. Let's go.
Finally done.
Yeah, we will be back at the studio next week, and maybe at some point during the season, Justin, we'll have to try to get you to come up to the studio and actually not do a Zoom show.
Sure.
Yeah, up at Edinburgh. But yeah, and also with our because we did say a statement, it could have been you can look at it as a jinx. There was a point where Alex, and our friend EJ said if the Pirates make the playoffs, we'll do a show in front of PNC Park. That's not going to happen, but here I'll even one up. If the Steelers win the Super Bowl, we will do a show in front of Acrisure Stadium. There we go. And then what about the Pens with the? Oh, sorry, what'd you say?
I said I'll be there if that happens.
Let's go. We'll do it at the Terrible Tailgate.
We should definitely. This is a bit of a time away, but we should either do TikToks for it, or we should actually do a segment of the show from the draft in 2026.
Ooh, that's a good one. I forgot about the draft. I honestly did forget that the draft will be in Pittsburgh here.
When we're gonna have to be swimming through like 750,000 people downtown.
Yeah, it's gonna be a nightmare. I was talking to the cops about that on Saturday. Like it was already a disaster because the Pirates played at 1:00 on Saturday. They couldn't even fit the people into all the lots. It's going to be a disaster.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, speaking of that, I just came up with a question on the top of my head, and real quick, Justin, where do you think they're going to set this draft up? Because I for the life of me cannot think where they would put it. Like I don't know.
They said it's going to be right in front of the stadium by Gate B, like across that road.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I was saying, and obviously there's also, you never know about what additions to the city will be added in 2 years, which is entirely possible. But yeah, just for the life of me, I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, it's in Pittsburgh. That's cool. And then right after I saw that, I was like, where's it going to be at?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll, that'll be exciting. But yeah, so next week we'll be back at the studio. I want to preface this again. Dom is still with us. We know when he's coming back. He will be back. Just be patient. But yeah. So Alex, would you like to send it?
Shoot, I don't have any paper on me. I'm just gonna send it on. Stay tuned for the next couple weeks when Rapid Fire starts and.
Shut up.
The 3-peat starts up. Good night, America.